The arrival. The crystalline spires of Zenus Prime glittered in the light of 3 suns as the human diplomatic shuttle descended through swirling lavender clouds. Inside, Ambassador Elena Reyes straightened her crisp navy suit, her dark eyes fixed on the alien cityscape growing larger by the second. This was it, humanity's first official diplomatic mission to the Zenusian Empire, a civilization so advanced that Earth had been little more than a cosmic speck to them until recently. Nervous, Ambassador? Captain Jared Holt's gruff voice cut through her thoughts. The square-jawed security officer stood at parade rest near the shuttle's exit, his hand never far from his concealed sidearm. Elena flashed him a confident smile. Excited, Captain. We're making history today. As the shuttle touched down on a gleaming landing pad, Elena took a deep breath. Years of diplomatic training had prepared her for this moment, but nothing could truly ready one for first contact with an alien species. The ship's doors hissed open, revealing a delegation of tall, willowy beings with iridescent skin and large, multifaceted eyes. Elena stepped forward, her translator earpiece buzzing to life. Greetings, noble representatives of Zenus Prime. I am Ambassador Elena Reyes of Earth, here to extend the hand of friendship and cooperation. The lead Zenusian, adorned in flowing robes that seemed to shimmer with their own inner light, inclined its head. Welcome, Ambassador Reyes. I am High Counselor Zaxlith. We have long awaited this day. As pleasantries were exchanged, Elena's gaze was drawn to a smaller figure standing behind the Zenusian delegation. Unlike the towering dignitaries, this being was closer to human height, with deep blue skin and hair that rippled like liquid silver. Its eyes, a striking violet, met Elena's for a brief moment before quickly looking away. High Counselor Zaxlith noticed Elena's distraction. Ah, you've noticed one of our servile class. This is Kira, assigned to attend to your needs during your stay. Elena frowned slightly at the term servile, but maintained her diplomatic composure. A pleasure to meet you, Kira, she said warmly. Kira bowed low, avoiding eye contact. The honor is mine, Ambassador, she murmured, her voice melodious yet tinged with an undercurrent Elena couldn't quite place. As the delegation moved towards the towering crystal palace that served as the seat of Zenusian government, Captain Holt fell into step beside Elena. I don't like this, Ambassador, he muttered. Something feels off about these aliens. Elena shot him a warning glance. We're here to build bridges, Captain, not burn them before they're built. Keep your suspicions to yourself. The grand hall of the Crystal Palace was a marvel of alien architecture, with soaring ceilings and walls that seemed to pulse with living light. As Elena was led to her quarters, she couldn't help but notice the clear divide between the regal Zenusian officials and the blue-skinned serviles that scurried about, attending to various tasks. Once alone in her room, a spacious chamber with furnishings that seemed to defy gravity, Elena allowed herself a moment to process the whirlwind of new experiences. She approached a large window, gazing out at the alien cityscape bathed in the light of 3 setting suns. A soft knock at the door interrupted her reverie. Enter, Elena called. Kira glided into the room, her movements graceful yet somehow restrained. Ambassador, I hope you find your accommodations satisfactory. Is there anything you require? Elena turned, studying the alien servant more closely. There was an intelligence in those violet eyes that belied her subservient position. Actually, Kira, I'd love to learn more about you and your people. Would you mind sitting with me for a moment? Surprise flickered across Kira's features, quickly replaced by a carefully neutral expression. That would not be appropriate, Ambassador. I am here to serve, not to converse. Please, Elena insisted gently. Consider it a diplomatic request. I'm here to learn about your world, after all. Hesitantly, Kira perched on the edge of a floating chair. As Elena began to ask questions about Zenusian culture and history, she noticed Kira's responses becoming gradually less guarded. There was a spark of passion in the alien's voice as she spoke of her people's achievements in art and science. You seem very knowledgeable about these topics, Elena observed. Have you studied them extensively? Kira's posture stiffened, her gaze dropping to the floor. Forgive me, Ambassador. I have spoken out of turn. It is not my place to. Nonsense, Elena interrupted firmly. Knowledge should be celebrated, not hidden. Tell me, Kira, are all of your people as well educated as you? A long silence stretched between them. When Kira finally looked up, there was a mix of fear and desperate hope in her eyes. Ambassador, she whispered, her voice barely audible, there is much about our world that you do not yet understand, much that is hidden beneath the surface. Before Elena could press further, the door chimed. Captain Holt's voice came through the intercom. Ambassador, the Zenusian High Council requests your presence for the welcome banquet. Elena stood, her mind racing with questions. We'll continue this conversation later, Kira, she said softly. As she followed Kira through the winding crystal corridors, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that she had stumbled upon something far more complex and potentially dangerous than a simple diplomatic mission. The glittering spires of Zenus Prime suddenly seemed less like a utopia and more like a beautiful cage, hiding secrets that could shake the foundation of its newfound interstellar relationship. With each step towards the banquet hall, Elena's determination grew. She would uncover the truth behind Kira's cryptic words, no matter the cost. For in that truth, she sensed, lay the key to not just diplomatic success, but perhaps the very future of human-alien relations. The first seeds of an unlikely alliance had been planted, and Elena Reyes, diplomat, explorer, and now, perhaps liberator, was ready to nurture them into full bloom. Cultural clashes. The Zenusian banquet hall was a symphony of light and sound, with floating orbs of bioluminescent creatures serving as both illumination and entertainment. Ambassador Elena Reyes sat at the high table, surrounded by the towering forms of Zenusian dignitaries. Despite the sumptuous spread of alien delicacies before her, her appetite was dulled by the weight of unasked questions. High Counselor Zaxilith raised a crystal goblet filled with a shimmering liquid. To new beginnings and the promise of cooperation between our great civilizations, the alien intoned, multifaceted eyes fixed on Elena. To new beginnings, Elena echoed, taking a small sip. The liquid tasted like stardust and possibility, sending a pleasant warmth through her body. As she set down her glass, she caught sight of Kira standing in the shadows at the edge of the hall, her violet eyes meeting Elena's for a fleeting moment before darting away. Tell me, Ambassador, Zaxilith's melodious voice drew her attention back to the table. What does your Earth have to offer the Zenusian Empire? We are, after all, far more advanced in most areas of science and technology. Helena bristled at the thinly veiled condescension, but maintained her diplomatic composure. While it's true that Zenusian technology surpasses our own in many areas, High Counselor, humanity has much to offer. Our adaptability, creativity, and resilience have allowed us to overcome countless challenges. We see potential where others see impossibility. A ripple of what might have been amusement passed through the assembled Zenusians. Admirable qualities, Zaxilith conceded, though perhaps more suited to a primitive species struggling for survival than to an advanced galactic civilization. Captain Holt, seated further down the table, tensed visibly at the slight. Elena shot him a warning glance before continuing. With respect, High Counselor, it is precisely these qualities that have brought us to the stars. Our drive to explore, to understand, to connect, these are the hallmarks of humanity. We may be younger than the Zenusian Empire, but we are eager to learn and contribute. As the conversation continued, Elena became increasingly aware of the vast gulf between human and Zenusian perspectives. The aliens spoke of time in terms of millennia, of resources as infinite, of other species as curiosities to be studied or utilized. It was a worldview born of unimaginable power and age, yet Elena sensed a stagnation beneath the glittering surface. Throughout the meal, she observed the interactions between the Zenusian elite and the blue-skinned serviles. There was an easy cruelty in the way the tall aliens commanded their smaller counterparts, a casual dismissal of their personhood that made Elena's diplomatic mask harder to maintain with each passing moment. As the banquet drew to a close, Elena excused herself, citing a need for rest after her long journey. In truth, she was eager to escape the suffocating atmosphere of Xenusian superiority. Captain Holt fell into step beside her as they left the hall. "I don't trust them, Ambassador," Holt muttered, his hand never far from his concealed weapon. "Did you see the way they looked at us? Like we're some kind of quaint pet project." Elena sighed. "I saw it, Captain, but we can't let our pride cloud our judgment. There's more going on here than simple cultural differences. We need to tread carefully." As they rounded a corner, Elena nearly collided with a small figure hurrying in the opposite direction. It was Kira, her silver hair disheveled and her violet eyes wide with fear. "Ambassador," Kira gasped, glancing nervously over her shoulder. "Please, I must speak with you. It's urgent." Before Elena could respond, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed down the corridor. Kira's face paled, her blue skin taking on an almost ghostly hue. "They're coming. I can't be seen with you. Tomorrow, at the third rising of the central sun, meet me in the Whispering Gardens. Come alone." With that, she darted away, disappearing down a side passage. Moments later, a pair of imposing Xenusian guards rounded the corner. They regarded Elena and Holt with cool detachment. "Is everything all right, Ambassador? We thought we heard a disturbance." Elena forced a smile. "Not at all. The captain and I were just discussing the fascinating architecture of your beautiful palace." The guards seemed satisfied with this explanation and moved on. Once they were out of earshot, Holt turned to Elena, his expression grim. "What was that about, Ambassador? I hope you're not planning on meeting that servile alone. It could be a trap." Elena shook her head. "I don't think so, Captain. There's fear in Kira's eyes, yes, but not of us. Something is very wrong here, and I intend to find out what it is." "With all due respect, ma'am, that's not what we're here for. Our mission is to establish diplomatic relations, not uncover alien conspiracies." "Our mission, Captain," Elena replied firmly, "is to represent the best of humanity. And that includes standing up for those who cannot stand up for themselves. I'm meeting Kira tomorrow, with or without your approval." Holt's jaw clenched, but he nodded reluctantly. "At least let me accompany you, Ambassador. I can watch from a distance, make sure you're safe." Elena considered for a moment, then agreed. "Very well, but stay out of sight. We can't risk scaring Kira off. Whatever she has to tell us, I suspect it's going to change everything we thought we knew about the Xenusians." As they continued towards their quarters, Elena's mind raced with possibilities. The glittering facade of Xenusian society was beginning to crack, revealing shadows beneath. What secrets were hidden in those shadows? And more importantly, what would it mean for the future of human-alien relations if those secrets came to light? Elena Reyes had come to Zenith Prime as a diplomat, but she was quickly realizing that her role might be shifting to something far more dangerous and far more vital. As she prepared for bed, gazing out at the alien cityscape bathed in the light of 3 moons, she steeled herself for what was to come. Tomorrow, in the Whispering Gardens, the true test of humanity's place in the galaxy would begin, and Elena was determined to prove that the spirit of Earth, adaptable, compassionate, and fiercely dedicated to justice, was a force to be reckoned with, even in the face of an ancient and powerful alien empire. As she drifted off to sleep, Elena's last thoughts were of Kira's fearful eyes and the weight of unspoken truths. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew that the fate of 2 worlds, and perhaps the entire galaxy, now rested on her shoulders. Unlikely alliance. The third sun of Zenith Prime crested the horizon, bathing the Whispering Gardens in an ethereal golden light. Ambassador Elena Reyes stood beneath the swaying tendrils of what appeared to be sentient vines, their leaves rustling in a melody that sounded almost like hushed voices. Despite the beauty of her surroundings, Elena's posture was tense, her dark eyes scanning the garden for any sign of Kira. Captain Holt's voice crackled softly in her earpiece. "All clear so far, Ambassador. No sign of our blue friend or any Xenusian patrols." Elena nodded, though she knew Holt couldn't see her from his hidden vantage point. The weight of her decision to meet Kira in secret pressed heavily upon her. If she was wrong about the servo's intentions, it could jeopardize the entire diplomatic mission. But if she was right... A flicker of movement caught her eye. Kira emerged from behind a cluster of crystalline flowers, her silver hair shimmering in the morning light. The alien's violet eyes darted nervously from side to side as she approached Elena. "You came," Kira breathed, relief evident in her melodious voice. "I wasn't sure you would." Elena offered a reassuring smile. "Of course I came. You said it was urgent, and I believe you. What's going on, Kira? What are you so afraid of?" Kira's slender fingers twisted together anxiously. "Everything you've seen here, Ambassador, the grandeur, the technology, the supposed benevolence of the Xenusian Empire, it's all built on a lie. A lie that's been maintained for millennia." "What do you mean?" Elena pressed gently. "The serviles," Kira began, her voice barely above a whisper, "we're not a separate class or species. We're Xenusians, just like the others. But we've been modified. Generations ago, the ruling class discovered a way to alter our genetic structure, to make us more docile, more subservient. They created a permanent underclass to maintain their utopia." Elena's blood ran cold. That's monstrous. How could they do such a thing?" "Power," Kira said simply. "The desire to maintain their position at any cost. But that's not all. The modifications, they're breaking down. More and more serviles are beginning to remember, to question, and the rulers are growing desperate to maintain control." A rustling in the nearby foliage made both women tense. Kira's eyes widened in fear. "We're not alone," she hissed. Before Elena could react, a pair of towering Xenusian guards emerged from the garden, their crystalline armor glinting in the sunlight. "Ambassador Reyes," one of them intoned, "your presence is requested by the High Council. Immediately." Elena straightened, summoning every ounce of diplomatic poise she possessed. "Of course, I was just admiring your beautiful gardens. Kira here was kind enough to give me a tour." The guard's multifaceted eyes narrowed. "The servile will come with us as well. The High Council has questions." As they were led away, Elena's mind raced. She needed to find a way to protect Kira and get word to Captain Holt about what she'd learned. The fate of an entire subjugated people, and possibly the future of human-Xenusian relations, hung in the balance. The journey to the High Council chambers was tense and silent. Elena's gaze flickered between the impassive faces of the guards and Kira's increasingly pale complexion. As they approached the towering crystal doors of the council room, Elena made a split-second decision. With a swift movement, she grabbed Kira's hand and bolted down a side corridor. "Run," she shouted, her voice echoing off the gleaming walls. The guards, momentarily stunned by the human's audacity, quickly gave chase. Elena's heart pounded as she and Kira raced through the labyrinthine palace, relying on the servile's knowledge of hidden passages and service tunnels to stay ahead of their pursuers. "Ambassador," Kira gasped as they ducked into a narrow alcove, "why are you doing this? You're risking everything, your mission, your career, maybe even your life." Elena met Kira's gaze steadily. "Because it's the right thing to do. Humanity didn't come to the stars to stand by while injustice occurs. We came to make a difference." A series of explosions rocked the palace, sending showers of crystal fragments raining down around them. Captain Holt's voice crackled to life in Elena's earpiece. "Ambassador, I've created a diversion. Make your way to the East Docking Bay. We're getting out of here." As they resumed their flight, Elena's mind whirled with possibilities. They couldn't leave Zenus Prime, not with what they now knew. But they couldn't stay in the palace either. They needed allies, resources, and a plan. "Kira," Elena panted as they ran, Are there others like you? Other serviles who remember, who want to fight back? Kira nodded, her silver hair streaming behind her. Yes, but they're scattered, afraid. We've never had the means to organize, to resist. A grim smile played at Elena's lips. Well, now you do. You have humanity on your side. They burst into the docking bay just as Captain Holt was commandeering a sleek Zenusian shuttle. Ambassador, he called, relief evident in his gruff voice. Thank God you're all right. We need to get off this rock now. Change of plans, Captain, Elena announced as she and Kira clambered aboard. We're not leaving Zenus Prime. We're starting a revolution. Holt's eyes widened in disbelief. With all due respect, Ambassador, have you lost your mind? We're 3 people against an entire empire. 4 people, actually, a new voice chimed in. They turned to see a tall, regal Zenusian emerge from the shadows of the shuttle. Greetings. I am Zara, chief scientist of the Zenusian Empire, and I've been waiting a very long time for this moment. As the shuttle's engines roared to life, Elena felt a surge of hope. Here, in this unlikely gathering of humans and aliens, rebels and renegades, she sensed the beginnings of something monumental. It wouldn't be easy. They faced impossible odds and unimaginable dangers. But if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was beating the odds. All right, Elena said, her voice filled with determination. Let's make some history. As the shuttle shot out of the docking bay and into the lavender skies of Zenus Prime, Elena Reyes knew that the real challenge was just beginning. But with human ingenuity, servile determination, and the unexpected alliance of a Zenusian insider, they had a fighting chance to reshape the future of an entire civilization. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity was a force to be reckoned with, not through superior technology or military might, but through an unshakable commitment to justice, freedom, and the inherent dignity of all sentient beings. As Zenus Prime receded behind them, Elena allowed herself a moment of reflection. She had come to this alien world as a diplomat, seeking to bridge the gap between 2 civilizations. Instead, she found herself at the heart of a struggle that would define the future of galactic society. It was not the mission she'd had prepared for, but it was the mission she now embraced with every fiber of her being. The adventure was far from over. In fact, it had only just begun. Escape and pursuit. The stolen Zenusian shuttle streaked through the lavender skies of Zenus Prime, its sleek form barely visible against the backdrop of swirling clouds. Inside, an unlikely crew of rebels huddled around a holographic display of the planet's surface. Ambassador Elena Reyes studied the map intently, her brow furrowed in concentration. Zara, she addressed the tall Zenusian scientist, you mentioned a hidden research facility. Where exactly is it located? Zara's multifaceted eyes flickered with a mix of excitement and apprehension. Here, she said, pointing to a seemingly empty expanse of Zenusian wilderness. Beneath the crystal forests of Luxthara, it's where I've been conducting my unofficial research. Captain Holt, his hand never far from his weapon, scowled at the alien scientist. And what exactly is this unofficial research of yours? How do we know we can trust you? Zara drew herself up to her full, imposing height. For centuries, I've been working to reverse the genetic modifications forced upon the servile class. Kira is living proof of my partial success. All eyes turned to the blue-skinned alien who nodded solemnly. It's true. Zora's treatments have helped me and others like me regain our memories, our true selves. But the process is slow and dangerous. Elena's mind raced with possibilities. If we can access your research, replicate it on a larger scale. We could restore free will to all serviles, Zara finished, and topple the very foundation of Zenusian society. A series of alarm klaxons suddenly blared through the shuttle's cockpit. Holt rushed to the controls, his face grim. We've got company. Looks like the Empire isn't too happy about our little joyride. Through the viewscreen, Elena could see a squadron of sleek Zenusian fighters rapidly gaining on them. Each vessel pulsed with an otherworldly energy that made the hair on the back of her neck stand on end. Their weapons are designed to disable, not destroy, Zara explained hurriedly. They want us alive. Well, that's comforting, Holt muttered, his hands dancing over the unfamiliar alien controls. Anyone know how to fly this thing in a dogfight? Elena stepped forward, a determined glint in her eye. I've got an idea. Kira, you said the servers have been remembering, questioning. Are there any in the military, in those fighters behind us? Kira's violet eyes widened in understanding. Yes, but they're afraid to act. The consequences of disobedience are severe. Then we give them a reason to act, Elena said firmly. She turned to Zara. Can you broadcast a message to those ships? Something they can't block or ignore. The Zenusian scientist nodded, quickly manipulating the shuttle's communication array. Ready when you are, Ambassador. Elena took a deep breath, steeling herself. This was diplomacy like she'd never attempted before, not between nations, but between the oppressed and their oppressors. Everything hinged on her ability to bridge that gap. Attention, Zenusian pilots, she began, her voice clear and unwavering. This is Ambassador Elena Reyes of Earth. I speak now not as a diplomat, but as a fellow sentient being. You've been told that we are fugitives, enemies of the Empire. But the real enemy is the lie you've been living. She paused, letting her words sink in. To those of you who have felt the stirring of memories long suppressed, who have questioned the rigid hierarchy of your society, now is the time to act. You are not alone. You are not lesser beings destined only to serve. You are Zenusians, equal in every way to those who would keep you in chains. The pursuing ships began to waver in their formation. Elena pressed on, passion filling her voice. Humanity stands with you. We offer not conquest or subjugation, but partnership. A chance to build a truly just society where all beings are free to reach their full potential. The choice is yours. Break free from your bonds. Join us in writing a new chapter for Zenith Prime and for the galaxy. As her words faded, a tense silence filled the air. For a moment, it seemed as though her plea had fallen on deaf ears. Then suddenly, two of the pursuing fighters broke formation, falling into position alongside the rebel shuttle. A new voice crackled over the comm system. This is Wing Commander Vexler. Ambassador Reyes, we stand with you. A cheer went up from the shuttle's crew. More fighters peeled away from the pursuers, forming a protective escort around the rebels. But their celebration was short-lived. Incoming, Holt shouted. A massive energy pulse erupted from the lead pursuit vessel, enveloping their small fleet in a web of crackling energy. It's a nullifier field, Zara explained, her normally composed voice tinged with panic. It's disrupting our systems. The shuttle and its newfound allies began to plummet towards the surface of Zenith Prime. Alarms blared as the ground rushed up to meet them. Brace for impact, Holt roared, fighting with the unresponsive controls. As the crystal forests of Luxthera loomed ever closer, Elena's mind whirled with a mix of fear and determination. They had come too far, risked too much, to fail now. Humanity's first true test in the galactic arena couldn't end like this. Zara, she shouted over the din of failing systems. Your research facility, does it have any defenses? Anything that could help us? The Zenusian scientist's eyes lit up with sudden realization. The quantum stabilizers, if I can just. Her long fingers flew over the shuttle's control panel, inputting a complex series of commands. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, just as the first crystalline trees scraped against their hull, a shimmering field of energy enveloped the falling ships. Their descent slowed, the nullifier field dissipating around them. With a bone-jarring thud, the rebel fleet settled into a small clearing amidst the towering crystal structures. As the dust settled, Elena took stock of their situation. They were alive, but stranded in the heart of Zenusian territory. The Empire's forces wouldn't be far behind, but they had also gained unexpected allies and were tantalizingly close to Zara's hidden research facility. Well, Elena said, a wry smile playing at her lips as she surveyed her battered but determined crew. "I'd say that counts as a successful landing. Now, who's ready to start a revolution?" The crystal forests of Luxthara glittered around them, a silent witness to the birth of an unlikely alliance. Human ingenuity had gotten them this far, but the real test was yet to come. As they prepared to venture into the unknown, Elena felt a surge of pride and purpose. This was why humanity had reached for the stars, not for conquest or glory, but for moments like these. Moments where the indomitable human spirit could shine, inspiring others to reach for something greater. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Elena knew that together, this ragtag group of humans and aliens stood a fighting chance of reshaping the galaxy. The next phase of their adventure was about to begin, and the fate of two worlds hung in the balance: revelation and rebellion. The crystal forests of Luxthara sparkled with an otherworldly light as Ambassador Elena Reyes and her mismatched team of rebels made their way through the dense, glittering foliage. Each step sent ripples of luminescence through the crystal structures, a beauty that belied the danger of their situation. "We're close," Zara whispered, her tall form ducking beneath a low-hanging branch of what appeared to be solid diamond. "The entrance to the facility should be just ahead." Captain Holt brought up the rear, his keen eyes scanning for any sign of pursuit. The Venusian pilots who had defected to their cause were spread out, providing a perimeter of protection. As they reached a small clearing, Zara approached what looked like an ordinary crystal formation. With a series of precise touches, a hidden panel slid open, revealing a bioscanner. "Ambassador," Zara said, turning to Elena, "I'll need a sample of your DNA as well. The facility's security system is keyed to recognize xenobiological signatures as a failsafe." Elena nodded, placing her hand on the scanner alongside Zara's. For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then, with a low hum, the ground beneath them began to shift. A circular section of the forest floor descended, revealing a hidden elevator. As they rode down into the depths of Zenus Prime, Elena's mind raced with questions. "Zara, you said this facility was for unofficial research. Just how deep does this conspiracy go?" The Venusian scientist's multifaceted eyes dimmed slightly. "Deeper than you can imagine, Ambassador. What you're about to see, it will change everything you think you know about the galaxy." The elevator doors slid open, revealing a vast underground complex. Holographic displays flickered to life, illuminating rows of stasis pods and complex machinery that hummed with barely contained energy. By the stars, Kira breathed, her violet eyes wide with wonder and fear. "What is all this?" Zara moved to a central console, her long fingers dancing over the controls. "This, my friends, is the truth behind not just the Venusian society, but the structure of galactic civilization itself." A massive holographic display sprang to life, showing a map of the known galaxy. Hundreds of worlds were highlighted, each pulsing with a different color. "For millennia," Zara explained, her voice heavy with the weight of hidden knowledge, "the Venusian Empire has been at the heart of a vast network of control. The genetic modifications used on our own people, they're not unique to Zenus Prime. Dozens of species across the galaxy have been subtly altered, their societies shaped to maintain a carefully constructed balance of power." Elena felt her blood run cold. "Are you saying that Earth?" Zara shook her head. "No, Ambassador. Humanity is one of the few truly unmodified species we've encountered. That's why you're so dangerous to the established order. Your adaptability, your creativity, your sheer unpredictability. They threaten to upset millennia of careful planning." Captain Holt stepped forward, his face a mask of barely contained anger. "So this whole diplomatic mission was what? A trap? A way to study us before you decided whether to wipe us out or reprogram us?" "Not exactly," Zara replied. "There are factions within the Empire who believe that humanity could be the key to breaking this cycle of control. That's why I've been working in secret, developing ways to undo the genetic locks placed on subjugated species." Kira approached one of the stasis pods, peering at the alien figure suspended within. These are representatives from worlds across the galaxy, Zara confirmed. Volunteers who've undergone the restoration process. They're ready to awaken, to return to their homeworlds and spark revolutions of their own. Elena's mind whirled with the implications. What had started as a simple diplomatic mission had exploded into a galactic conspiracy of staggering proportions. The fate of not just Zenus Prime, but countless worlds hung in the balance. So, what's our next move? Elena asked, her voice steady despite the enormity of the situation. We can't possibly fight an entire empire, let alone a galaxy-wide network of control. A smile played at Zara's lips. That, Ambassador, is where humanity's greatest strength comes into play. You see patterns where others see chaos. You find hope in impossible situations. We don't need to fight the entire empire. We just need to create enough disruption to let the truth spread. Captain Holt nodded slowly, his tactical mind already at work. A simultaneous uprising across multiple worlds. If we can coordinate with these volunteers, use the Empire's own communication networks against them. Exactly, Zara said, but we'll need to move fast. The Empire will soon realize that this facility has been compromised. As if on cue, alarms began to blare throughout the complex. Holt rushed to a security terminal. We've got incoming. Looks like a full battalion of Imperial forces, backed by some heavy weaponry I've never seen before. Elena's eyes narrowed with determination. Then we'd better get to work. Zora, start waking up our new allies. Captain, coordinate with our Zenusian defectors. We need a defense plan. Kira, I need you to help me draft a message. Something that can cut through propaganda and genetic programming. Something that will resonate across species barriers. As the team sprang into action, Elena felt a surge of pride. This ragtag group of humans and aliens, thrown together by chance and choice, was about to challenge the very foundations of galactic society. It was a daunting task, but if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was beating impossible odds. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Stasis pods hissed open, disoriented aliens of various species awakening to a galaxy on the brink of change. Holt and the Zenusian pilots fortified their position, using the crystal structures of Lux Thara to create natural choke points and ambush zones. Zara worked feverishly to upload the genetic restoration data to secure channels across the galaxy. And at the heart of it all, Elena crafted a message of hope and rebellion. Drawing on humanity's long history of resistance against tyranny, she wove a narrative that spoke to the universal desires for freedom, self-determination, and justice. As the first sounds of battle echoed from the surface, Elena stepped up to the facility's main communication array. With a nod from Zara, she began to broadcast. People of the galaxy of 1,000 worlds and 1,000,000 stars, I speak to you now not as a representative of humanity, but as a fellow sentient being who dreams of a better future. For too long, we have all been pawns in a game we didn't even know was being played, but no longer. Her voice, translated into countless languages, beamed across the stars, a clarion call of rebellion and hope. Today, we stand together, human, Zenusian, and beings from across the cosmos, to declare that we are not slaves. We are not tools to be manipulated. We are thinking, feeling, dreaming individuals with the right to shape our own destinies. As Elena spoke, reports began flooding in from across the galaxy. On world after world, populations long held in check by subtle genetic controls began to awaken, to question, to resist. The road ahead will not be easy. Elena continued, her voice strong and clear despite the sounds of battle growing closer. But together we have the strength to forge a new path, a galaxy of true cooperation, of mutual respect and understanding. The chains that have bound us are breaking. The future is ours to write. As she finished speaking, the doors to the facility burst open. Imperial forces poured in, weapons at the ready. But they faltered at the sight that greeted them, A united front of humans, Xenusians, and aliens from across the stars, standing shoulder to shoulder, ready to fight for their freedom. Elena Reyes, diplomat turned revolutionary, raised her voice one final time. So I ask you now, people of the galaxy, who will stand with us? Who will fight for a future unbound by the shackles of the past? The response, echoing across a million worlds, was deafening. The battle for the future of the galaxy had begun. Triumph of unity. The once hidden research facility beneath the crystal forests of Lux Thara had become the epicenter of a galactic revolution. Ambassador Elena Reyes stood at the heart of the chaos, her voice hoarse from hours of coordinating rebel forces across a dozen star systems. Around her, humans and aliens worked side by side, a living testament to the power of unity in the face of oppression. Ambassador. Captain Holt's voice cut through the din. He approached, his uniform singed and torn, but his eyes blazing with determination. The Imperial forces are regrouping for another assault. Our defenses are holding, but we can't keep this up forever. Elena nodded grimly. What about the other worlds? Have we made any progress? Zara, the Xenusian scientist, looked up from her console. Reports are coming in from across the galaxy. The genetic restoration codes are working, but it's slow. The Empire is fighting back hard, trying to maintain control. Kira, her blue skin shimmering with tension, joined the group. We've received word from the Xenusian capital. The ruling council is in disarray. Some are calling for negotiation, others for all-out war against the rebels. Elena's mind raced. They had sparked a fire across the galaxy, but now they needed to find a way to end this conflict before it devolved into chaos and destruction. Humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to adapt, to find solutions where others saw only problems. It was time to put that strength to the ultimate test. We need to change tactics, Elena announced, her voice cutting through the worried murmurs around her. Fighting the Empire head-on is playing into their strengths. We need to do something unexpected, something that will force them to the negotiating table. Captain Holt raised an eyebrow. What did you have in mind, Ambassador? A slow smile spread across Elena's face. We're going to surrender. The room erupted in shocked exclamations. Holt looked at her as if she'd lost her mind. Ambassador, with all due respect, have you gone insane? We can't give up now. Elena held up a hand, silencing the outcry. Not a real surrender, Captain. A tactical one. One that will get us exactly where we need to be. As she outlined her plan, the faces around her shifted from confusion to understanding, and finally to cautious hope. It was audacious, dangerous, and utterly human in its blend of diplomacy and cunning. Hours later, a Xenusian Imperial battlecruiser hung in orbit above Lux Thara. On its bridge, Admiral Vexenor, Supreme Commander of the Imperial Fleet, watched with narrowed eyes as a small shuttle approached. My lord, a subordinate reported, the rebel leadership is on board. They're requesting to surrender. Vexenor's multifaceted eyes glittered with suspicion. Bring them in, but be ready for anything. These humans have proven unpredictable. The shuttle docked, and Elena Reyes stepped onto the bridge of the Imperial flagship, flanked by Zara, Kira, and Captain Holt. They were unarmed, their postures a careful blend of defeat and dignity. Admiral Vexenor, Elena began, her voice carrying across the hushed bridge. On behalf of the rebellion, I offer our unconditional surrender. The Admiral's towering form loomed over her. Do you take me for a fool, human? Why would you surrender now, when your insurgency spreads across the stars like a plague? Elena met his gaze steadily, because we've seen the true cost of this conflict. The lives lost, the worlds burned. We started this rebellion to end oppression, not to replace one tyrant with another. She gestured to her companions. Look around you, Admiral. Human, Xenusian servile, we stand here united, not as conquerors or conquered, but as equals. Isn't that proof enough that change is possible? Vexenor's eyes narrowed. Pretty words, Ambassador. But words alone cannot undo millennia of order. You're right, Elena agreed, surprising the Admiral. Words alone aren't enough. That's why we're here to offer you a choice. With a nod from Elena, Zara stepped forward, producing a small device. This contains the complete genetic restoration codes, Admiral. With it, you could undo all the changes made to subjugated species across the galaxy. You could free your own people from the shackles they don't even know they wear. The Admiral's hand twitched, almost reaching for the device before he caught himself. And why would we do that? Why would we give up control? Because control is an illusion, Elena said softly. Look how quickly your carefully maintained order has crumbled. The old ways are dying, Admiral. You can cling to them and fall, or you can help shape what comes next. She straightened, her voice gaining strength. We're not here to destroy the Xenusian Empire. We're here to transform it, to create a galactic community where all species can thrive, where diversity is celebrated rather than suppressed. Imagine the advancements we could make together, unfettered by artificial limitations. A tense silence fell over the bridge. Elena could see the conflict in Vexenor's eyes, centuries of ingrained belief warring with the undeniable truth before him. Finally, the Admiral spoke. And if we refuse? If we choose to crush your rebellion here and now? Elena's gaze didn't waver. Then you'll have to kill us all, not just here, but on every world where the flame of freedom has been lit. And even if you succeed, how long before another spark ignites? How many more rebellions can your empire endure? The moment stretched, balanced on a knife's edge. Then, slowly, Admiral Vexenor reached out and took the device from Zara's hand. I hope, he said quietly, that the galaxy you envision is worth the price we'll pay to create it. Elena's shoulders sagged with relief, but her voice remained strong. It will be, Admiral, because we'll build it together. In the days and weeks that followed, the galaxy underwent a transformation unlike any in recorded history. The genetic shackles that had bound countless species for millennia were broken. The Xenusian Empire, once the hidden puppet master of galactic affairs, began the painful but necessary process of reform. It wasn't easy. There were setbacks, conflicts, and moments when it seemed the fragile peace might shatter. But every time the alliance faltered, it was the human spirit of adaptability and perseverance that helped find a way forward. 1 year after the surrender on the Imperial flagship, representatives from 100 worlds gathered on Earth for the signing of the Galactic Concordat. As Elena Reyes, now serving as Earth's ambassador to the newly formed Galactic Council, put her name to the document, she reflected on the journey that had brought them all to this moment. What had started as a simple diplomatic mission had blossomed into something far greater, a testament to humanity's unique ability to inspire, to unite, and to face the unknown with courage and creativity. As the assembly erupted in cheers, Elena's gaze met those of her unlikely allies, Zara, Kira, Captain Holt, and so many others who had fought alongside her. In their eyes, she saw the same hope and determination that carried them through their darkest hours. The road ahead would not be easy. There were still challenges to face, wounds to heal, and a galaxy of differences to reconcile. But as Elena looked out at the sea of diverse faces, human and alien alike, she knew that together they could accomplish anything. The age of secrets and subjugation was over. A new era of galactic cooperation had begun, with humanity standing proudly alongside its cosmic neighbors, ready to face whatever the universe might throw their way. As the celebration continued around her, Elena Reyes smiled. The greatest adventure in human history wasn't ending. It was just beginning.